On this edition of Oxford News This Week, parents still fighting responsibility charges, helping one grant at a time, and on our new segment, Our Last Story. That and more on this special edition of Oxford News This Week. Welcome back to Oxford News This Week. Tuesday morning, 3 judges in the Michigan Court of Appeals heard arguments on whether there was enough evidence to send the mother and father of trial for involuntary manslaughter in the November 2021 shooting at the Oxford High School. James and Jennifer Crumbley each faced 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter for the deaths of the slain students Madison Baldwin, Tate Meir, Hannah St. Juliana, and Justin Schilling. Prosecutors and defense attorneys presented the arguments before judges Michael Reardon, Christopher Murray, and Christopher Yates. The defense has argued that the gun Ethan Crumbley used in the deadly shooting was purchased for him as a present. Ethan, who was 15 at the time of the shooting, stated in court that the gun was not properly secured in the home. The Crumbleys were called to the school for a meeting after a teacher found a drawing with the gun and some thoughts that were inappropriate written on a note. After that meeting at the high school, the Crumbleys were not required to take Ethan home, and he stayed on campus. That afternoon is when he used the gun, and his mother referred to as his Christmas present for Ethan, which was actually in his backpack. To shoot 4 of his fellow students and wound 7 others, defense attorney Mariel Lehman argued that the school was concerned that Ethan would be going home to an empty house and may actually harm himself, not that he would harm others. In October, Ethan, now 16 years old, pled guilty to the multiple felony charges, including murder, terrorism. If convicted, it would be the first time the school shooter was convicted of terrorism. He faces a sentence of life in prison without parole. In June, Jennifer and James Crumbley requested that their trial be moved, saying that would not receive a fair treatment in Oakland County. Oakland County Circuit Court Judge Cheryl Matthews denied the request, but did grant a motion that restricts pretrial publicity in the case. To add insult to injury, Oakland County Circuit Court Judge Mary Ellen Brennan on March 3rd dismissed Oxford Community Schools and the 7 school district employees from civil negligence, the lawsuit based on government qualified immunity. After being relieved of its responsibility in the Oxford shooting, the Oxford School District announced that it would hire Dr. Vicki Markovich as interim superintendent. She started on January 9th and was supposed to work here all the way through the end of June. All that changed on the February 28th meeting, Oxford School Board meeting. The board approved extending her contract through the 2023-2024 school year. The motion was made by board member Aaron Rice and supported by Amanda McDonough. The vote was a unanimous one, with all voting in favor of retaining her. Financial Reality Fair made a return to Oxford High School last week with the help of Genesis Credit Union. Oxford High School students got a glimpse at how important it is to start planning for their future. Heather Pizzala, Vice President of the Marketing with Genesis Credit Union, explains how the students get the firsthand experience balancing a budget through the program.
So the Financial Reality Fair is an exercise that we take all of the students through, and it's really a high-level budgeting app that they get to utilize their phone, and they're assigned an occupation, a credit score, they're given a little bit of debt, and then they get to navigate through all of the decisions of life essentially and try to keep their balanced budget for what a standard month would look like. They get to pick things like housing, transportation, leisure. There's a charity station, so they can determine how much money they give to charity, or if they maybe don't have enough in the budget and they just have to donate their time. Different things pop up. There's, as we all know, things that are unexpected, good and bad, that will impact their budget. So they have all of these things coming at them as they're navigating all of the stations. And at the end, is obviously we're trying to get them to balance that monthly budget.
Also assisting in Financial Reality Fair was Joe Fedorenchik, economics and U.S. history teacher at Oxford High School, who would definitely recommend the program to other Oxford High School students.
I think it's eye-opening for them. We do a project later in the year that resembles this too as well, and when they realize how much things cost, I think it's always like a little shock effect for them that their parents have been paying that much for them on a daily basis. I love when we get an opportunity to get the kids out of the classroom, moving around, interacting. I just think it's a huge positive for them. The kids love it. They're very engaged. I've never had a class come down here with their people and they're just kind of not engaged. They're always smiling, laughing, engaged with people here. I love today. I love doing this. I love that they come in. I'm very grateful and thankful. And overall, I mean, I would recommend this to many other schools around.
Not too early to learn about financial responsibility. When students in the Oxford schools are having issues of a local resource area, the Oakland Addison Youth Assistance Program is available. It's been here since 1963. Youth Assistance was started in 1953 and has grown to have 26 offices throughout Oakland County, one office for every school district. The OAYA office is located in the Oxford Middle School across from the band room, and not just for middle school age students. The OAYA is for anyone 17 and younger. It's supported by both villages of Oxford, Leonard, Oxford, Addison Township, Oxford Community Schools, and Oakland County Circuit Courts. Currently, Oxford has one youth assistance caseworker with a caseload of about 90 families currently. The caseworker is Stacy Williams. She says it's been in the district since September. She's been in the district since September when Oxford agreed to have a full-time versus part-time caseworker. Prior to Oxford, Williams was a caseworker in the Waterford for 7 years. If you want to learn more about the OAYA or volunteer to help out, you can log into their website. It's oxfordaddisonUYA.org. Again, they also have a newsletter available for you. The Pollyanna Trailway Management Council is working to resurface the make necessary safety improvements along the entire 16.9 mile of the Pollyanna Trail in Oakland County. They are seeking a public comment about the current trailway conditions, ideas for future enhancements. They will have a meeting up and coming on March 16th. Again, looking forward to that. Again, 5 to 6:30 at the Friendship Park building, which is on Clarkston Road, 3380 Clarkston Road. The council plans to use information collected from the input in the meeting and other public engagements for opportunities to apply for grant funding and implement the changes for the Pollyanna Trail. An 18-year-old Oxford man was cited for reckless driving with malicious destruction of property after being caught by the Oakland County Sheriff deputies. According to the reports, deputies were dispatched to Seymour Lake, the Township Park, where they saw a red 2019 Chevrolet Equinox spinning in circles at a high rate of speed on one of the park's baseball diamonds. The report stated that the 18-year-old saw the deputies were approaching, drove through the volleyball courts. When deputies finally stopped the driver, they discovered he had also driven over a sledding hill and over the ice rink as well, breaking a drain. Deputies cited the driver, and the car was again impounded. Oxford Village Police Chief Michael Sowell released a report for this past February. The report shows that the number of calls for service, citations, or warnings given and the number of accidents in the village. According to the report, this past February, there were 594 calls for service, down over February 2022, 723 calls. Oxford Police gave out 99 more citations and warnings. This past 440 versus 341. This could be pandemic related. We all stayed in our houses for about 2 years. There were 4 accidents last month, 3 in February of 2022. Oakland County will observe a Severe Weather Awareness Week coming up on March 19th through the 25th with many opportunities to educate residents about severe weather hazards. As part of the Oakland County Recognition Week, there will be a statewide tornado drill on Wednesday, March 22nd at 1 p.m. Oakland County Emergency Management will activate its outdoor warning system, the siren system. The National Weather Service will issue a practice tornado warning and broadcast a test message on National Oceanographic Atmospheric Administration, NOAA for short. National Weather Radio, the practice warning can be heard on NOAA Weather radios, which can be bought commercially or heard through the NOAA Weather Radio app. Once again, a very valuable tool if you don't have one already. What can you say about CJ Carnacchio? Well, he's helped out the TV station here. He's the Communications and Grants Manager for Oxford Township. He was honored by the Oxford Chamber of Commerce on Wednesday morning by the 2023 State of the Community and Leadership Awards breakfast at Independent Village. He was presented with one of 2 Community Leadership Awards. Carnacchio has served Oxford for well over 24 years and lived in the area since 2001. From May of 1999 to October 2019, he worked at the Oxford Leader newspaper. He spent 17 of those years as the editor. OCTV manager Terry Stiles described Carnacchio, the journalist, as a defender of the people, his neighbors to the speaker of harsh truth, champion for our students as well. Carnacchio also went to work for the Oxford Township in November of 2019. Since then, he has secured well over $981,000 plus in grants and donations that benefited the community. Terry Stiles also said, looking to do more for his own sake, but for the community's sake. Again, Carnacchio has also increased the township's social media presence, taking a Facebook page to 710 followers to well over 10,500 followers on their Facebook page. After that, he accepted a leadership award. Carnacchio dedicated it to his wife, Connie Miller, his wife of 22 years. A beautifully scribed letter to his wife is right on the Oxford Township website. I urge you to read it. Connie can be read again on the Oxford Township website. He writes a nice letter about who helped him get where he's at. Also, we'd like to thank him here at OCTV for the funding we've secured for many of the projects at OCTV. Retired Oxford Fire Chief Pete Schultz was honored at the Oxford Chamber of Commerce breakfast as well. Again, that was on Wednesday, the State and Community and Leadership Awards breakfast at Independence Village. He was presented with a 1-2 Community Leadership Award. Schultz joined the fire department as a paid-on-call member on February of 1976, 5 years after he graduated from Oxford High School. Over the next 46 years, he rose through the ranks, serving as captain, assistant chief, deputy chief before actually taking over in November of 2008. He retired actually on December 31st. Schultz has lived in Oxford since 3rd grade, also helped downtown Oxford flourish economically, aesthetically, and socially through other organizations and the Downtown Development Authority. Once again, he has retired, and we congratulate him on his efforts here with Oxford. And with that, we are going to take a slight break. Dave Kenny will have a few segments. I have a short sportscast. We'll do that next. You're watching Oxford News This Week.
Canine Stray Rescue does just that. Rescue stray dogs for new families. But they need your help. Become a volunteer at Canine Stray Rescue League of Michigan. Take dogs for walks, help them socialize with others, and help them get adopted. Fill out an application and help a family add a new member today.
Have you liked us on Facebook yet? If not, what are you waiting for? Just go to your Facebook page, go to the search bar, and type in Oxford Community Television.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from Automotive News. General Motors isn't promising that Ultra Cruise, its hands-free driving system for city streets, can handle every situation right away. Ultra Cruise, which debuts in 2024 on the Cadillac Celestiq, will tell the driver to take over through roundabouts and other intersections requiring complicated maneuvers, said Jason Dittman, the system's chief engineer. It will also relinquish control at the threshold of destinations such as a grocery store parking lot or the owner's driveway, Dittman said. Over time, we'll grow this to where we're covering nearly every paved road, he told reporters. The limitation that GM is revealing for the system and its repetition of the phrase safely deploy show that the automaker is taking a different tack than Tesla, which is under investigation for accidents involving semi-autonomous features it calls autopilot and full self-driving. GM said Ultra Cruise can tackle 95% of driving scenarios. Instead of just using cameras, as Tesla does, GM says its system combines 7 long-range cameras with more than 20 sensors. It uses short and long-range radar, LiDAR behind the windshield, and a camera atop the steering column to monitor whether the driver is paying attention. Dittman said GM has not begun testing Ultra Cruise on public roads, but that the system will be fully vetted before its release, in contrast to Tesla's reliance on its customers as full self-driving beta testers. GM's fundamental strategy for all ADAS features, including Ultra Cruise, is safely deploying these technologies, Dittman said. A deep knowledge of what Ultra Cruise is capable of, along with the detailed picture provided by its sensors, will help us understand when Ultra Cruise can be engaged and when to hand control back to the driver. We believe consistent, clear operation can help build drivers' confidence in Ultra Cruise. Ultra Cruise initially will be offered on high-end vehicles, Dittman said, such as the Super Cruise, that is to say, while the Super Cruise, which functions only on highways, has expanded to mass-market models such as the Chevrolet Silverado. Ultra Cruise will spread beyond the Celestiq, a $300,000 hand-built sedan, more quickly than GM rolled out Super Cruise to multiple vehicles, he said. Because testing has not been completed, Dittman declined to specify exactly how much of Ultra Cruise will be enabled when Celestiq deliveries begin early next year. Whatever we have ready to deploy, that is to say safely deploy, at the point in time will be on the car, he said. All the hardware will be there. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
The day that JD was injured, I had woke up to an odd phone call. It was the military calling to tell me that he had stepped on an IED.
My role in the Army was I was an infantry scout. I was a squad leader for a recon element.
The Army doesn't really prepare you for injuries. They either prepare you for the soldier to come home or not to come home at all. They don't prepare you for the in-between. There's things that I do for him that is considered caregiving that to me is considered just loving him.
The day I got injured, she got wounded as well. And the veterans wouldn't be the men that we are and the women that we are today if it wasn't for our better half helping us every direction we go.
The Coalition to Salute America's Heroes helps severely wounded or disabled veterans just with basic needs such as emergency financial aid. For our family specifically, they tremendously helped us out with employment through their Heroes Thinking Heroes program.
Visit saluteheroes.org to learn more.
Hello, this is Lomas Brown, ex-Detroit Lion, and you're watching OCTV. That's Oxford Community TV. Check it out.
Welcome back to Oxford News this week and a brief look at sports. In a matter of 2 nights last week, Oxford Victories changed the entire OAA blue and elevated themselves into a deadlock tie for third. I'm talking about boys basketball. They defeated Troy Athens and then 2 nights later the Berkeley Bears to unlock the three-way tie at the top. For the first at the top, Oxford made their presence known those 2 nights that it can play hard in the OAA blue. Both games can also be seen here at OCTV. Oxford and boys team has a very strong team up and coming. In girls hoop, I know we mentioned this last week. North Farmington won 41-38 to clinch its first division title since 2015. North Farmington historic season. The Raiders again tested by Oxford, who 18-4. No shame in the 2 losses though, each to Lake Orion and North Farmington for the Oxford Lady Wildcat team. Again, they've shown big growth, ranking at least 6. Again, we are looking forward to another season of basketball. Again, 1 senior leaving the Lady Wildcats. And we also mentioned this last week, but we thought we should do it again. Congratulations to the girls' freshman and JV basketball teams. Both teams have astounding seasons this year. The freshman girls had an undefeated season at 19-0. Unbelievable. The JV girls won their league record at 14-0 and a total record of 18-2 for the season. Way to go, ladies. Nice to know we have some upcoming girl basketball players that's going to contribute to that varsity team. And again, I said a brief look at sports. We'll be back in a minute. I think Dave Kenny has one more thing, and we will take a look at our last story on this edition of Oxford News This Week.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Canine Stray Rescue is Oxford's own local dog rescue. Call them at 248-628-0435 or go to their website dogsaver.org and click on the Canine Stray Rescue League link.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. Many large galaxies were long thought to be missing a huge proportion of matter, but it has now been found. And that is an even bigger problem for our understanding of the universe. Observations over the course of the last decade or so have shown that galaxies about the size of the Milky Way appear to have far less baryonic matter, meaning normal matter, not dark matter as we expect. This expectation is based on the ratio of dark matter to regular matter in the universe, which suggests that galactic disks only had about 20% of the baryonic matter that they should. While studies in following years found about half of that missing matter in clouds surrounding the galaxies in the cool circumgalactic medium, the other half remained elusive. Now, Fabrizio Nicastro at the National Institute for Astrophysics in Italy and his colleagues have used data on 3 galaxies from the XMM Newton Space Telescope and the Chandra X-ray Observatory to find the rest of their missing matter. And there may actually be too much of it. Even those powerful observations weren't able to spot the matter in any of the galaxies individually. Instead, the researchers had to stack the observations of the 3 galaxies together so they could measure the light of all 3 cumulatively instead of one at a time. They found signs that mingling with the cold gas of the circumgalactic medium was hotter gas, a mass of hotter gas equal to hundreds of billions of times the mass of the sun. The mass we estimate is sufficient to explain the missing mass in galaxies, says Nicastro. This evidence unveils the majority of baryons in the galaxies. There is just one problem. The matter shouldn't be thought of as missing at all. Simulations of young galaxies show that powerful winds created by energetic processes like star formations and supernovae really should have hurled much of the baryonic matter out of these galaxies when they were young. So, they were born with the expected amount of matter, and then it got ejected. But that means the missing matter should be long gone, not hanging around in the circumgalactic medium. We thought these baryons should really be missing. They should have been blown out of the galaxy, said Vikram Ravi at the California Institute of Technology. From that perspective, it's an amazing result if it holds up. If the missing matter really is there, we will have to rethink how galaxies work on a huge scale. But Before we do that, these results will have to be confirmed. One potential issue is that the data processing and interpretation process tends to smooth things out. So a more precise model of how exactly this matter is distributed could change the amount we think is there. When we look at the Milky Way's halo, we actually find a good amount of structure and clumpiness, says Ravi. I think it will take comparison with really detailed simulations and with the Milky Way itself to be able to interpret this data more thoroughly. Comparing other galaxies to the Milky Way will be particularly crucial in the coming years because we don't have the ability to measure the circumgalactic media of galaxies beyond our own in detail. One or two confirmations can still be provided by extremely long observations with the current X-ray satellites, the SXM Newton and the Chandra, but in order to really do population studies of these components of the circumgalactic medium, new instrumentation is needed, says Nicastro. It could take a decade or longer before these new telescopes are ready to really unveil the mystery of the not-so-missing matter. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny.
Welcome back to Oxford News This Week in a segment we like to call The Last Story. A familiar face at the desk of the Addison Township Public Library will soon be missing. Linda Henderson is retiring. Her last day is up and coming in March. She also served the library board since 1989 to 1996. Henderson believes libraries will never be obsolete. However, she said they must constantly evolve in order to meet the needs of the community. Over the years, she has a joke. She's learned where all the bodies are buried. I hope not. Her favorite story from her time with the library was when a woman who came in to pay for a book, her dog had actually destroyed. The book was about how to train your dog. Honestly, that wasn't the first time and the last time the dog ate a training book. She had her husband of 47 years, David. They moved to Lakeville in 1977. They have 3 daughters, Liz, who lives in Ann Arbor, Christy in Grand Rapids, and Catherine Katie lives in Brooklyn, New York. As for retirement, she says she plans to keep very busy. She will attend a New York City show with her daughter soon, and then she also is a runner in Las Vegas, the Rock and Roll 10K. She's looking forward to that in the spring with her with Caitlin, her other daughter. They want to do more races. She said she wants to learn pickleball and, more importantly, spend more time with her grandkids. We will miss her at the Addison Library. And with that, we want to thank the gathering sources of the Oxford Leader, Oxford Township Facebook, and yes, thank you to C.J. Carnacchio once again for all that he does, and also the Oxford Leader. OCTV can be viewed on Spectrum Charter Channel 191, Channel 99 on the AT&T Uverse system, YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. You can even download the Roku app and watch OCTV programming there. If you have an idea or a local group and you want to, feel free to call our office. That number is 248-628-9658. Thanks to producer-director Kyle Snage, videographer Al Campbell, editor Marissa, also program coordinator Dan Zweiss, program director Connie Miller, station manager Terry Stiles. For everyone here at OCTV, I'm Jim Hughes. Hope you have a safe week, and I invite you back next time, and we will take a look at Oxford News This Week.